we are live. I am just going to find our dear friend Danielle. Awesome. Okay, so how do I do this? Hi, Luke.
We're just working it out. Hi, Luke.
Look, going with Thistle. Where are you?
Where is she?
She's just waiting for Danielle to join us. Hi, Dan!
Oh my god, I did it!
I just dashed you so I could say hi to you.
Yeah, Jules is doing kid duty at the moment.
Kid duty. I come in here and I haven't seen Ro in like an actual person.
Wow,
We're breaking quarantine here.
Right.
How are you?
You've brought me into to 2020. I've not done anything this technological in my life.
Like, this is new to us too.
I just feel so fancy.
Oh, great. Can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're a bit soft. Can you turn your volume up?
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming in to be the flies on the wall.
Ooh. Anyway.
Awesome. It's just like we're at the Marcus having a chat.
I know. It's cool. I know.
This is great. So this is your new studio space.
Yes, this is where I am. We only moved in a little while ago, so I'm still unpacking everything. And
Okay.
I don't want to move the camera because I feel like I won't get it set up again.
No worries.
But yeah,
we're a bit hot.
All my patterns and everything, all the paper cardboard patterns from ye olde days.
Yeah.
Hanging in the back there, and then it's a very nice. Let me show you. It's a very nice bright space. I'm very
awesome. Yeah.
Very lucky.
Great.
To have. Yeah. So it's good.
Awesome.
It's getting there.
This is great.
It's yes, and I also have a storage unit which I've just set up in Bango because as you know, just closed the store, so a lot of stock had to go.
Yeah, Dan. How are you feeling? Yeah. So close the store. How many years did you have the store in South Newtown?
It was nearly 8 years.
8 years? Holy.
Yeah, massive.
Oh my goodness.
Time flies when you're on a horrendous roller coaster of retail.
That's the end of an era.
Yeah.
It
well
is.
done.
It's quite massive, actually. I think it was definitely the right thing to do at the time, and I learned so much, and I think as you guys know, I just think it's so important for a designer to sell their own product, you know?
Yeah. More and more so, right?
Yeah, and it's just and that alone, and that was my most terrifying. That's what I was most terrified about having the store, because previously my business was just a wholesale model, so I used to make the clothes, send it out, and never really knew who was buying it. But having the store was amazing to have that face to face with customers and have that feedback. But you know, and
so what's where you are, like now I suppose everyone has been shopping from you directly anyway, like from your online store. And you were with like the Iconic, I think, and you were with, I saw that you were with Garmentory in the US. How's that going?
It's the Iconic, for the moment we have separated ways.
Understandable.
Yeah, look, it's a very different business model to how we operate. And look, and what they do, brilliant. Just doesn't suit everybody. It was great while we were on there, but they needed new hot product. all the time.
Yeah.
They need a
It
new
just doesn't work like that when we're so slow fashion. It doesn't work that way.
so slow.
Yeah.
It's and so they, and really ideally they wanted something every couple of weeks, and it just wasn't. And even when with their new sustainable
Yeah.
that they went through that
Sort of mission. Yeah.
that new angle. I still feel they weren't quite grasping what that meant for a lot of brands our size.
Yeah.
But still an extremely a great step forward for them and a great step in the right
Yeah,
direction.
it is.
Really
So
great.
they're doing great stuff.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it really does remain like how our business models, who are really committed to producing at
Locally.
this scale and Australian.
Mm.
And the scale factor is an interesting one, right? Like the scale versus new releases, constant new releases. I mean, that's a reason why we're not in that model of business, like
And it's
we don't want
something I struggle with. I think, I think
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where business really comes into what we do, because, it's a hard one. You've got to have new product to keep interest, and it's a very boring cash flow issue. It's just
I know.
you got to sell the old stuff to make the new stuff, and it's that. Or that really boring business side, but it's a balance that I still struggle with every day, really. I just sort of think, okay, do I sit on this now for a little while and wait for the sell through, or do you never know how far ahead to be planning, and especially now you're sort of like, how far?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, I mean, we've definitely had to cease buying any new fabrics for the season, as you know, we have to have been like at least having an idea of the range we're producing by now, and so that has definitely made us think more resourcefully about what we have. And I noticed that you've been doing that as well.
Yes, definitely.
Which is great that we can actually be that small and flexible. I think that's the advantage.
I think after the initial shock of this all happening, and we were, told to close our stores, and temporarily, but I've closed permanently. That was a choice I made. But I think after that initial shock, I thought, God, how lucky are we? We are. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of our time to shine. It's the time for small business to shine, and I think because we can be a lot more reactive and a lot more proactive, and I think I mean, imagine if we were one of those bigger brands
I know
that had debts.
Imagine if you had 50 employees. Like imagine if you had 100 or 300 staff and multiple stores.
Totally.
Yeah, it's
so gut.
We're definitely in less stressful position in that sense.
Yeah.
And I think we, like the thing with balancing like scale is definitely a thing that we all struggle with, right? So like, you're still committed to producing. I mean, you've moved to Bangalore now, but you're still committed to producing in Australia. Yeah. And also in Sydney. I mean, you've been working with your makers for, I don't know how long, 10 years, more than that.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's great. You're really transparent with that. And I think because it's Fashion Revolution Week, that's what we're talking about. It's about asking who made my clothes. I think it's even more important than ever that our customers like really take this on, and I think we're pitching for a new world where
local manufacturing is
local manufacturing.
Yeah,
the cost is all there, it's not hidden in.
And we might see this time, some bigger brands coming back on shore, which would be quite a big move, because we, like I said, we're very lucky that we don't have shipments held up in India or China. I mean, I had fabric delays from China, but I know friends who manufacture in India, which is in lockdown now. They can't get products for they don't know when. So we're very lucky that we work with with local makers, and it's also you know, during this time, having that relationship with your maker and your cutters has been amazing, because it's a real, you know, they've been very flexible with payment terms and turnaround, and I'd be flexible with them. And it's when a 10-year relationship really makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it really does, you know. I mean, that's why we never went offshore, really, because we thought, well, how could you not know? Like, we have such strong and intimate relationships with anyone that works on our clothes. It just, it never really sat comfortably with us. But, you know, obviously scale is a thing. Like, we struggle. There's 3 of us to pay. And we need to think of ways that we can grow that still, you know. And now we've got children.
That's right.
Actually,
they eat a lot,
Totally.
don't they?
Totally. I know. I mean, it's that struggle with any small business, no matter what you're manufacturing. But you know, I think it's really important for, you know, ethical clothing brands to be profitable. I mean, it's not a dirty word. I mean, it's if ethical brands, if we're not profitable, then we don't exist, and we're not in positions where we can run at a loss like a lot of these big companies, because they have investors, and some of them choose to run at a loss. You know, we don't, because we support families and things. But it's so it's a funny time at the moment. But I sort of feel personally that the last week I've seen a bit of a change, I think, in people's spending and people's attitudes, and I think that shock factor has worn off a little bit. And people are feeling...
Yeah, and I hope people are feeling like coming back to the village a bit, you know, because we've always kind of operated more on that scale, and because we like to function on that scale. And I think this quarantine times definitely help people like kind of reconnect with their own, because it's so easy to just desire all the stuff that's out there, and forget that in our community there's people doing great stuff. So anyway, this is our own pitch.
Support small, local, ethical. Yes.
Yes. Right. And,
but this is the conversation we're having, right?
Yeah. And back to, you know, having made that decision to close the bricks and mortar store, which was, you know, a massive one. But
it's amazing.
You know, we
there's so much attachment to that.
Yeah, there is a lot of attachment, and you don't want to lose that you know, sense of community, which is what boutiques do on a shopping strip. I mean, they, like you've said before, it's incredibly important to the cultural landscape of what we're doing. But I think it's we felt we needed to relocate anyway. I think our area had changed a little bit, and we were looking at relocating, and we still feel that that's definitely on the cards.
For sure.
Yeah, so we don't.
No, this isn't. Yeah, it's definitely a relocation,
transition point.
And a transition too. This is kind of an interesting time. It's almost forced transition, you know.
Yes.
It's happened at the same time, like just thinking those things, and then suddenly, okay, I just have to make those decisions now.
The universe has decided for you.
Yeah,
which
I love that.
Very interesting.
I'm exhausted of making decisions. I love that the universe is doing it.
I noticed that you're doing a challenge for Fashion Revolution this week.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
What is it? Threads for Change?
That's right. And that was an initiative by the amazing Social Outfit.
They're amazing.
They're incredible.
So good.
For anyone who doesn't know them, look them up, because what they do is next level. And so they just got together with a few stores in the vicinity of Newtown, where we're located. And it's basically, you know, getting people to get on Instagram in a garment of, like, not one of the participating brands. It can be anything that you've bought, and just talk about where your garment came from. So it's missing. I think it's going to be that over the next week we're going to see lots of, you know, people handmade product, me down.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a woman who's, you know, been in her grandfather's knitted vests that was knitted 40 years ago by her grandmother, and you know, to just creating a story about where your clothing came from, and
Yeah.
you know, and making that a little bit more white.
How important that is.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you know, when I get a chance to actually say where I've been given a garment or have, you know, made a garment or something, it always makes me feel happy to talk about it. And
Yep.
you know, and I don't know, it just gives you what you're wearing and who you are a bit more,
Totally.
I don't know, shape or something.
And
you know?
what we do,
I think most people do think that way.
yeah, and we
Yeah.
rely on word of mouth so much with what we do. You know,
Yeah.
like so much of our
That's right.
is you know, somebody commenting on what somebody's wearing, and
Yeah.
I got this.
Yeah.
From Milk.
Right, digital marketing, what's that?
Right. Well, let's just go back to word of mouth, catch ups. But yeah, you know, so we
I
rely.
have no idea how to do it.
I know. But yeah, so
Oh man.
it's nice to have that. I think there's a certain amount of pride when someone can say, yeah, this is high tea, or this is Milk and Thistle. It's a small,
Yeah, totally.
30 or 40 have made of this. You know, it's not going to be seen everywhere you go. You know, it's very, it's important, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I suppose we hope that story continues, especially with the younger generation, you know. I mean, our customers tend to be older, and they already they already share a lot of those stories. And I suppose as we're meeting younger customers, it's really interesting to talk to them about how their relationship with clothing is actually currently changing. You know, like that awareness is actually becoming it's like a new thing for the younger customer.
Yeah, because they're realizing that they're actually wanting to shape what this looks like, and they can see the environmental impact, they can see the climate crisis happening, and if they want to make a difference to that, they can start that on their own with better decisions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what about so design markets are off this year?
Oh yeah,
That's another arm being
Another anyways, didn't you?
I mean,
You love market.
I suspect they're off for the whole year. I mean, I can't imagine anyone saying, hey, yeah, let's put on an event with 20,000, 40,000 people this year. I mean, it seems to be, you know, I mean, and again, you know, I feel for that there's that part of the design community who, you know, people don't, I mean, it's easier for a business like us to make a switch, but when you're that part of the design community where you're creating events that are just so important and so supportive to people like us, I feel for them. I mean, it's
pretty hard.
That's a tough gig, you know. So because
but it's been really interesting to see quite a lot of those physical markets turn into a virtual market, and even if it might not be them actually selling the work, they're just promoting, supporting, encouraging, showcasing.
Yeah.
That's been a really lovely switch to see.
Yeah. And also we're thinking a lot about scale in that sense too, you know, like, I mean, everything wants to be so big all the time.
Yeah.
And there is like a good point where things are big enough or not too small.
Yeah.
And we wonder whether there is a place for that in, you know, more of that happening. Like, I mean, there's localized design markets, and you like it's just the whole thing has grown so huge anyway.
Yes. For sure.
And there's those challenges there.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a certain amount of you know, hype and excitement around a big event. You know, I think the big markets definitely still have a place in what they do, because it's a one-stop shop for people. They can come and see so many makers under one roof. But I think there's definitely proof that smaller, more curated markets are getting just as good results, for sure. You know, I think ultimately it's just up to the customer and where they, you know, feel what kind of event they want
Yeah.
to attend. But you know, I think it's like us. I think keeping the business very streamlined and it really it makes a lot of sense right now. I think, you know, just keeping it very concise and just really editing what you do, you know.
I think we've been thinking as well, like, because if everything moves online more and more, I mean, there's a real importance for, like, clothing is so tactile, and especially clothing at like ours, that's very much about the natural fiber, about the, you know, the different weights of fabric,
like the fit and the drape and the sizing. And
our regular customers will understand that, and you know, we'll probably have that same kind of customer where once they know your style and the sort of choices of fabrics that you choose, they understand and can shop online quite easily from brands like ours. But I think the physical contact is still really important. So as we think about like an online future, I suppose we are also thinking we need to have also something that goes, like, if it's not a design market, then maybe it is small groups of us that produce, that collectively produce curated experiences, you know, for our customers. Like, because I think you still need to connect with that tactile experience.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that's a really interesting challenge, you know, with clothing.
Yeah, it is, and I think that you know, educating people in that online space is you know, is a tough one, because there are so many people who've already made up their minds that they choose not to shop online and they prefer shops. But then there's a lot of people who choose not to spend their time walking up and down, you know, Westfield Mall or
High Street.
High Street.
Yeah.
You know, I think you know, this is sort of where I guess we're all trying to work that out. At the moment, we have no choice. We are online retailers, and so I think that now we're just we're doing our hardest to make sure that that's a stress-free experience by offering free shipping, free returns, all that sort of stuff, so people can buy, send it back, get a refund if it's not right. You know, it's your chance to try things on. And it's and so, you know, I think it's nice to, and you know, I sort of feel like a lot of brands now, because they've been forced to go out of this bricks and mortar space, have finally started doing things they've planned to do for the last couple of years anyway.
That's right.
But you know, we're so desperate at the moment trying to get live videos, a 3D video of our product on our website. And I sort of think that's been like 4 years ago. We thought, let's get video on the website. And now it's just like, video on the website.
It is so much work. It is so much work, you know? Oh my gosh.
I'm just happy I'm on Instagram Live. Don't even get me started about...
Sorry, threw in the deep end there. This is easy. Now you can do it all the time.
Yeah. You might be able to get me on.
I think that the video is probably the closest to seeing something in like 3D real scale, you know, and that's why it's pretty important. And being like not feeling the pressure or the need to make this perfect. I think that's the thing. Like, we're finding as we're doing more of these videos and Instagram live things, you just kind of let it go. You kind of know that it's not perfect.
You're gonna fumble. You're gonna make mistakes. It's totally. People understand. It's totally okay.
Right, everyone.
I'm on board.
So more video, Dan.
I know. I'll set you up around the dinner table tonight, and you'll.
But it's kind of cool because, like, for example, like the thing I love about your work is like especially the really fine print. I think the one that was it called Galaxy? Or something where it was like really fine and it looked really fantastic. Like when you're not up close, but it's kind of great to be able to see that too, because printing is actually really difficult, and to be able to see that on video, I think is like if you can't see it on like by touch,
you can't see it on a flat lay, and I think it's nice, and we really are keen to sort of work with other people too, you know, who are can present the product in their own way as well. Like sending it,
that's right.
We sent some product to Amelia from Colour Me and Styling. She's going to style the product the way she sees it. It's nice to get up people's own personal ways of styling a product, not just how we picture it or not how we want it in a campaign shoot or anything like that. I think it's good to collaborate with people like that. So
you're right.
And I think that's what, you know, a lot of these big e-tailers are doing, like the Net-a-Porters and your Iconics. I mean, they've all been doing this, and that's part of their success too, I guess. But I think, you know, what you were getting back to before, I think it's really important too about that sort of tactile, you know, people. I think that's why it's good for brands like us to collaborate with with physical spaces still. And I think it's something we've touched on before, but now that we're sort of faced with possibly, you know, with our own bricks and mortars closing, and to do more collaborations with designers in physical spaces makes it affordable. It makes it more interesting. People are coming to see several brands with a similar aesthetic or similar ethos. I mean, I think that's the future of bricks and mortar, that people a collaborative effort and not having one designer in a bricks and mortar stuck with their heads, because you get a situation like this and then everyone's like terrified, you know.
It's actually it's just so much more sustainable thinking that way too, you know, because really everything is about scale, and that pressure to produce new constantly, that comes with that scale. So the sharing economy is definitely the best way to go.
And like the whole idea of the co-retail means that you can, you know, have a much more intimate experience, but perhaps just with a greater spread. Like imagine if you could co-retail in, you know, 3 spaces instead of just 1. And that these like shared ideas and marketing and stories, it's a beautiful match, really.
Definitely, because we don't want to lose that bricks and mortar element now. And you know, we're very lucky we have some fantastic stockists as well, which present our product beautifully and are passionate about what we do. So and it's just really that the bricks and mortar still has a lot of life. You know, I'm not. It's
that's right.
It's really, I mean, there's small boutiques now is when you need to be shopping with these small boutiques, but I sometimes sort of felt that I was spending a lot of time and energy promoting a space that was really only going to reach out to people within a 10-kilometre radius, you know, and whereas
for sure.
The same money and time and energy.
We're shrinking, wasn't it? I suppose that was the contrast. That felt like it was shrinking, whilst meanwhile we're online and we're trying to project out. So that it didn't match up.
No,
for sure.
Totally.
Interesting. Well, anyway,
good.
This is great. So good to see you, Dan.
I'm loving all your IGTVs. It's my little moment of sitting down with my coffee.
Oh, really?
I caught up on a few this morning.
Okay, that's great.
Thanks, Dan.
Some mornings we've had just the worst night's sleep with the kids, and I'm like, I can't even string 2 sentences together. So thank you. That was very kind.
I mean, mine are a little bit older.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I thought this was an awesome conversation, and I think
let's have more.
Yeah, let's do more talking about how I think we really want to promote the fact that, like, in the way things are, like local and village is important. Like we say that for other communities, so why not for ours?
Yes.
And then why not for this industry? And I think the more we talk about it, spread it, and I see in this isolation time too, people have like the time to actually contemplate this and go, I do want to support my local business, otherwise they're not going to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we totally underestimate, well, we don't, but people can underestimate, you know, customers. And I think that because we're very lucky, and I say this time and time again, I'm very, I never take my customers for granted. I know they are spending their hard-earned money on my product, and that's something I'm forever grateful for. And I think that they shouldn't underestimate the change that they're contributing to as well. You know,
that's right.
Customers are you know, are everything, because they are making the choices that change you know.
That's
Yeah.
totally beautifully said, because I think that's the key, isn't it? It's like
Mm.
for people to spend their hard-earned money, they're really thinking about the purchases from, you know, labels like us, because we're not a low-priced item. So it's really great because they value it, they look after it, and it has a long life.
That's it. Yeah. So
Right.
we love our little community.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Okay, well,
Awesome, Dan. So good to see you.
Now, how do I get off this?
When we see you for real.
Yeah. So I don't know how to get off this. I'll be here till
We'll
okay.
record it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Bye,
All right,
guys.
love.
See you guys. Thanks.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.